Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Prep Life Podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Inger. Today, here with my fabulous co host, Lee Marie Hossetter. Hey, Lee.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hey. So, right now, I am like one day out from one trip and I just came back yesterday. So, we are all about the travels right now. I felt like it was relevant. I know you went on a trip not too long ago, but I think that summer is just kind of a time that a lot of people go on vacations and things, and a lot of people are also in prep. I've gotten questions too from people getting ready for like Masters Nationals and things like that, just asking questions about how to travel with food. And so I just think that it's always a good topic. I think a lot of times, you know, however many episodes there's been, like 200, whatever, maybe even close to 300 at this point. But I know we've done travel podcasts before in the past, but this one is a little bit more specific in terms of just kind of the normal everyday like trip, not necessarily traveling to a show, which I know we've talked about a show specific, but I want to talk in more in general. If you are in prep and you have to have things kind of dialed in, like what that looks like. And I'm sure there's other busy moms out there that are like me where their kids are in travel sports and we're on the road. So we just got back from Dallas for my son's baseball, and a lot of times I'll travel for my daughter's volleyball. So I just think it's something relevant that a lot of people, not necessarily parents, but just anyone in general, like if you are getting ready for a show and you are going on a trip, you want to be present with your family and enjoy your time, whether it's with friends or whoever, but still eat within your goals. So that's kind of the premise, the long-winded premise of this podcast.
Mhm.
Anything to add before we start?
Yeah, so I actually was just talking to a competitor that I have in prep right now about her vacation. And I just want to point out from the start, all of these tips are great tips, but your mindset is key. And so you need to have a different mindset if you are in a prep for a competition going on a trip. You need to change that mindset from how can I do this to how am I going to do this? Because you have certain things, your nutrition, your workouts, your cardio that are non-negotiable. You need to get those done if you're in prep. So if there are ways that you can strategize with your coach to move things around to fit with the resources you have available to you at wherever you're going, that's good. But make sure you have that plan and you know how you're going to execute it, because unlike if you are just living the fit life and you can afford to go a week or so a year, being a little more lax or missing something. When you're on prep, you can't afford that. Time is of the essence, and you have things that you have to get done. So just work on changing your mindset from how can I do this to how am I going to do this, and figure out those strategies ahead of time. And here are some of the strategies that we like to implement and make it a little bit easier for.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's a good intro. But before we go into that, I do have to mention, and this is a shameless plug for the Beastified Gym. I just hit my first workout at the new gym. It's not officially open until June 29th. That's when it's open to the public, but I destroyed my legs today. And you're sure if you're watching on YouTube, Jim is my
Yeah.
boyfriend. I love it.
I had a little first date with the Beastified Gym on Saturday, and I am still sore from that leg day. And I believe, if I am correct in saying this, I believe their pre-sale does start today.
Yes, it does. For
So
$55 a month to the
yeah, and
first 100.
that's a special price. That's
Hmm.
a special price that you are going to want to get in on. So I would highly recommend looking into that if you are anywhere near the Kansas City area. Even if it's a little bit of a drive, the hours are going to be fantastic too. And I know that's a big thing
Yep.
for me with getting into the gym is finding hours that I can train in, and these hours are going to be great. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, eventually it'll be
Yep.
24/7.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know when this podcast is actually going to launch, but today is June 17th. So um, just that heads up. So as we mentioned, I'm going on vacation soon so that we're obviously pre-recording this episode. So there's some transitions that have to happen. We'll just kind of go through the list. And then if we want to add anecdotally, like anything that we have thoughts wise, we can do that. So number one would be to cook and portion and pack all of your food. For me, that's the key to success, especially shorter trips. What I do, and I was telling one of my clients this, so this can apply to if you're doing a show or if you're going on vacation or like, you're a baseball mom like me. So what I do is, I package each meal in like a Ziploc bag. So I'll cool it down in my refrigerator, make a huge, batch of meat and vegetables, and then weigh each meal into baggies. And then I make a giant like Ziploc bag that has the day and then all of the foods in there. Depending on how close you are to prep, like you can bring a food scale and you can just bring like a whole bunch of meat. If you're getting down to the nitty gritty, what I always do is I plan out all of my meals. And I think I like tagged you on Instagram where I was like 000 as I was
Mhm.
planning. So I plan out the 4 days that I'm gone. Some of those things included bars and yogurts and things because those are easy when you're sitting at a game for 2 hours or whatever you're doing. If you're driving for 5 hours, like I was, it's a lot easier to eat that. And then, like once you get to the hotel, cooking things up. So, um, long story short, just make sure you're prepared ahead of time with your foods. You know, if it's buying, boxes of protein bars on Amazon ahead of time and making sure that you have them counted out. I mean, this is like we're on serious prep,
Mhm.
going for those serious goals. Every single little thing counts.
Yep.
So that's my
I
number one.
like I like that idea as well, especially if you're driving. I know you can fly to some places, especially within the states, and bring food as well. But especially if you're driving, you can take a cooler because that way you don't have to think. There are no decisions. You have that bag. You're eating that food that day, and that's it. And it takes away from that, willpower. You don't have to use that willpower. So going into the next point, if you are eating out, you're going to have to use that willpower and decision making, but try to do it beforehand. So always plan ahead. So look up the restaurant, look up the menu, know exactly what you're going to ask for. Be really nice and polite and courteous with the waiter when they come to introduce or to ask you, what you want to drink and stuff. Try to make a little conversation with them. What I do is I always kind of um, premise my order with, I'm going to be a little bit of a brat, so bear with me, or something like that, where you're just kind of making a joke about what you're about to do because you're going to order very specific things. And I will even I'll put together my own thing. I'll look at, the meats that they have in their different dishes, and I'll be like, well, that meat, that chicken sounds like it's going to be pretty lean and cooked in not a lot of fat. So I'm going to pick that, but I'm going to pair it with this side of vegetables or this salad, and I want this out. And I'm going to be very specific with that. And you can even say, something like, I have certain foods, I have like a strict nutrition protocol that I have to follow. And that is true, but they can also assume that that might be like a medical reason. You don't have to tell them it is a medical reason. It's for prep for us, but that's going to help them be aware that they really do have to follow that because it's for you and they're going to assume it's for your safety and your health. So
Yeah.
saying something like that might help as well. But if you're getting meat at a restaurant, I always have my clients, my competitors, and myself. I always track a little extra oil, anyways, even if you ask for it not to be cooked in oil. Also, sometimes vegetables, I ask for them steamed, but you never know. And so you'll be able to see and or tell. And if it tastes really, really good, track that oil just to be safe because they're probably using some extra fats to cook those foods.
Yeah. I went to several restaurants and one of my hacks is like go to Subway and just get a bowl of salad and vegetables, bring your own portion meat. So I had like these 60-gram baggies of like 99% ground turkey,
Mhm.
and those came with me everywhere. So even if we went to a sit down restaurant, I would just basically order lettuce or, like basically a salad, a side salad, and I would dump my meat on top of it because I don't trust like
Yeah.
this close at 6 weeks out. I can't take that chance. I don't know how much it weighs either, even if they do cook it in an oil. So my purse has a lot of meat in it. And I mean, obviously I have like coolers that look like purses and things like that. So I'll just dump it on whatever. Um, but those were some of the hacks that I did. And then just, if you go to Chipotle as well, like you can get a salad bowl. There's a lot of different places that you can just dump your own protein on to lettuce. And then at least you're like still sitting down with family and all of that. And it doesn't even make you like as picky of a like you don't have to really make a big fuss about it. And yeah, that's what I did. So number 3 is pack portable, non-perishable snacks like protein bars, nuts, protein powder, jerky, tuna packets. They have these great. I have just started buying these on Amazon. They're like these big boxes of plain oatmeal, like quick oats
Mhm.
that is portioned into a 100 calorie package, no sugar added or anything like that. And it's so easy to just like, you don't even have to have a food scale for those. Just add hot water or microwave it. And then rice cakes. I don't personally care for rice, but that's another really easy and handy thing to do. One thing I discovered too are corn cakes.
Mhm.
If rice bloats you, that's another good option, are corn cakes.
Yeah, I love especially the portioned out nut butter packets. I know you get
Hmm.
the Barney butter ones off
Yep.
Amazon, and I've never seen in store 1 tablespoon packages, but you can get them off Amazon, which I learned
Yeah,
from
you
you.
can buy them at Sprouts too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have the single tablespoon. Yeah, most of the Justins and all of those, they all come in 2 tablespoons, or the Jif little mini things are even more than it. I think they're like 18 grams,
Oh,
or
wow.
maybe I don't know.
That's odd.
That's the only brand, and it's almond butter is Barney butter that comes in 1 tablespoon. I still feel like I could make a lot of money by making peanut butter in 1 tablespoon servings,
Yeah,
but
I think you should. Let's think about that. Okay, so number 4 is to bring your own body weight scale and travel food scale. So, really important if you are gone for long enough, if you have a check in or if you're just tracking your own weight daily, that you have that same scale that you use because different scales can be off by so much. And that can, mess with your head and it's not going to be accurate data for prep. So, using your own body weight travel scale, and Amy and I both use the same one that we got off Amazon, and it's super handy and convenient and it comes in a little case, but I use it, I think you do too, every single day. Like
yeah,
that's the one I weigh on.
at home, and
Yep, at
it's with
home
me
and
everywhere.
traveling, just so that I know it's always going to be the same weight, like accurate across the board. And then travel food scales, especially if you are having to go out to eat or if you have to get to something like an Airbnb, go to the grocery store, things like that, and you need to use your own weigh your own food. They do have these really convenient little travel scales that just fold up and go right in your bag. I would try either use it against like compare it with your home scale that you use at home or just use that one all the time too just to stay accurate with your weight too, but that should be a little more like calibrated, I would think, to your home scale. Thoughts on that? Do you use a travel food scale at all?
I use it every day. So
Okay.
it's just like my other scale. They both come with me. I mean, it compacts, it looks like a little
Like a little tripod
Y.
almost.
It
Yeah,
looks like
yep.
a Y. And then it folds into just like a little sliver of, it's the best. But I use it all the time. So then that is one thing that can kind of like vary, I've noticed with food scales too,
Mhm.
similar to body weight scales. And it's so funny because I had a client that she's been out of the country for a couple weeks, and she's been using like random scales, and I kept wondering like why her weight was jumping around. First of all, it was in kilograms because I mean, everybody except the United States uses the metric system. So she was converting it from kilograms into pounds, and then, if you use one like at a gym randomly, like you have to be enclosed, like you can't be naked. So it's just, yeah, bring your own for both of those. And then I think we kind of touched on the grilled and options, but and with oils, but just make sure everything is like a way that it's like will not like baked anything that's, fried or like has sauces or rubs and stuff like that. You got to be careful of like sugars and things. I don't think you mentioned that, but like a lot of meats will have like they'll be, I don't know, what's some of the verbiage? Like obviously
Sure,
barbecue
yeah.
would
Look.
be like adding sugar, but like teriyaki has sugar,
Mhm.
things like that, where like blackened is a good word because that's usually means that it's just or grilled. But what are
Yeah,
your thoughts there?
you want to watch for words like fried or sautéed. You want to watch for
Yeah.
glazed. You
Yeah.
want to watch for like barbecued, things like that. All of those sauces, glazes, barbecue sauces, things like that are going to have sugar in them. Anything that's going to be sauced or seasoning, try and get that separated. Um, so just watch for those keywords or just ask,
Yeah.
what do they put
Yeah.
on it? Ask as much as you can. And then number six is pack foods and snacks that might not be available or easy to find in your destination. So you mentioned protein bars, protein shakes. Especially if you're traveling, you can get, already made, pre-made shakes, or bring your powder and a shaker cup. It's really handy because it takes less room. And then things like, I mean, I know even First Farm has things like meat sticks and all sorts of like convenient protein, like
Yeah.
muffins or protein, whatever that they have. So just make sure that those things are fitting in with your macros, but throwing in a couple of those convenient snacks can absolutely save you on a travel day.
Yeah, and just always check what the stipulations are because every country or place that I've traveled, they have different rules on what's accepted. So, for example, we're going to the Virgin Islands for our 20th wedding anniversary, and the stipulation is you can't bring any fruits or vegetables. And like the meat has to be cooked. But then when we went to Spain, there weren't many rules. And then we went to Italy, you couldn't bring in any meat. And sometimes they have different amounts that you can bring in. Like I know the only one that's domestic in the United States that has a stipulation is Hawaii because they're so protective of their vegetation. You cannot bring fruits and vegetables into Hawaii, but that's the only one domestically. So if you are flying, just look at those rules because they're different for every country on what you're allowed to bring in. And you don't want to get like in trouble at customs. I know Mexico has different rules as well. I've gotten stuff confiscated from there that I didn't realize you couldn't bring eggs, and I had eggs. So anyway, okay, so staying hydrated is definitely important as always. If you're staying somewhere hot, you're out in the sun a lot, you're exerting yourself, make sure that you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day. Especially if you're flying, you're going to get dehydrated in the air when you're up in a high altitude. So just making sure that that's on point, and then also just making sure that you're not thirsty and it's not masking actual hunger because usually you're dehydrated if you're feeling hungry and really you just need to, you know, address that with some water.
Absolutely. I always try to tell people and try to track how much water I'm drinking because you can't go by your thirst because especially if you are slightly dehydrated, you're going to start craving all those snacky foods because your body needs energy fast and it's really just dehydrated. So track how much water you drink, get a bottle of water that you can actually count how many you've had. So that's a
Yes.
good thing. Don't just go intuitively. Okay, so the next one is to incorporate physical activity into your vacation. So walking, hiking, swimming, running outside on the beach, anything that can be like fun or novel. In like if you have a hotel gym or a gym close by, make use of that. I always do research and find gyms whenever I'm on prep. I want to make sure I have a gym that has what I need to get my workouts done. So I always do that research ahead of time. But then, keep your step goal, get your cardio in, use that vacation to stay active.
Yeah. Some gyms will also like provide like a 3-day pass or something like that. Like if your hotel gym isn't sufficient, we always stay at Weston. So when we're on long trips, because the Weston workout, they're known for their gyms. So that's like our hotel of choice. But like, for example, this past weekend, when I was in Texas, like we kind of just like gym hopped and did some free passes at some different places. But it's kind of fun because it's kind of like being a tourist. You know,
Love it.
I tried out a
Mhm.
retro fitness, which was really nice and clean. So it's kind of fun to do that too. And then just prioritize your rest and recovery. Especially be protective of and aware of sleep because a lot of times, like with time changes and like early morning flights or late night flights, your sleep schedule can be thrown off. And especially like in a hotel room, sometimes you don't get the best night's sleep. So be aware of those things, prioritize those.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Yeah. And if there's anything that any way that you can kind of bring your sleep routine with you as well, if you use like a sleep mask or a sound machine, or if you sleep with a fan, I know you can get apps that have like fan noise, or bring
Yep.
your own pillowcase, anything that's going to help you, maybe bring a candle that you use at home or something, anything that's going to bring that home with you so that you can actually relax and rest is a good idea. And then the next one is we kind of talked about this already, but plan your workouts ahead of time. Plan everything ahead of time. Do your research, look at those gyms, try and get a handle on the gym equipment. Look at the number of workouts you have and when you're going to be able to fit those in your day and in your week. And then if you need to bring something like bands or something to modify certain things, check with your coach ahead of time. Have that plan ahead of time so that you're not stressed out during your vacation. So always plan what you can ahead of time.
Yeah, like your rest days, if you know that you're going to be, traveling for long distances and you're not going to have a whole bunch of time, plan your rest day for that. Like I always do legs the day before I leave, which is why I crushed legs today because a lot of times that's the hard one to like really push heavy, especially when dumbbells only go up to 50 pounds in a gym. It's really easy to do an upper body workout and to throw that in. Just stick to your meal timing as much as possible is another tip that we have. You want to maintain your energy, your metabolism. You don't want to get overly hungry and have a blood sugar dip and make some poor decisions when you're tired.
You also don't want to eat all your food by like 2 p.m. and then be
Yes.
stuck with no food.
Yes.
That is a bummer. And then the last one is to enjoy the experience. And remember that vacation is also about relaxation and enjoyment. So I think our tendency is to automatically go to how am I going to not eat all the foods? How am I going to fit my workouts in? And remember what we said at the beginning, don't think, how am I going to think, in that, like, how do I do this? Think proactively, we're going to get it done. I'm planning for it, but try to focus on time with family, try to focus on relaxing, try to focus on experiencing new places, new things, and less focus on just food and or how are you going to get your workout in. Get your workout in an hour. Like, that's an hour out of your day. Just get it done, move on, enjoy the day. I've done 3 vacations on prep. I think 2
Mhm.
with you, Amy, and 1 for a powerlifting prep. And you just get it done. You get your workout done. It's a small portion of your day. You follow your macros, and then you just enjoy the rest of the vacation. It's totally doable.
Yeah, I wake up before my family wakes up and I get my cardio done completely before they even are awake. And then like my family, I'm kind of lucky that they actually like to work out with me. All four of them do. So like while I dropped off my son to like warm up for his team, my daughter and I went and had a workout together. And then you don't feel like you're like spending time away from them. And that I think is the best thing to do. Like if you need steps, then ask the whole family to go on a hike or do something active, but try to be inclusive so that it's not, you know, your family's not hating you or your friends aren't hating you by the end of it. And just try to make it work as much as possible. So
Love it.
that's our advice for today. If you would like to find us on Instagram, you can go to at Prep Life Podcast or at Glam Girl Bikini. Feel free to always DM us any suggestions that you have for us in terms of topics. Let us know if you're liking the content. We never know. It's hard other than YouTube if there's comments left, other than you leaving a rating or review, we really don't know, if this is resonating with you. So if it is, please tag us on your story. Let us know what you thought of the episode or DM us. We would sure appreciate it. So thanks for listening, guys.